We are Pro Cannabis Media.
Hi everyone, welcome to News Dabs for a very special edition on the road here in Las Vegas, Nevada. That is the site of this year's MJBIZCON, which is the single largest cannabis convention in the world. And what better place to have it than in Las Vegas, Nevada. Now, we are at the Eclipse Theater in Las Vegas, in old Las Vegas, and we are here because we are sponsors of the Women in Cannabis, a Living History Expo and big workshops and big celebration tomorrow on Association Day here at MJBIZCON. Did I introduce myself? Did I say that I'm Jimmy Young from Pro Cannabis Media? Because this is what News Dabs is all about. We do a weekly news video on some of the biggest stories in the cannabis industry. Now, we are from Massachusetts, so I do have to give you a few Massachusetts News Dabs right off the bat here. The vaping ban continues in Massachusetts, and more importantly, the Boston Globe has been reporting on the probable connection to medical vapes with some of the patients that have been stricken by that lung disease. Now, they say it is a probable, but they also are now reporting that some of those vapes that these people have gotten sick from are illicit vapes. So once again, we don't know specifically where they got those vapes, but it did happen. They did get sick in Massachusetts, and life goes on. Now, we also have a new commence operations going on. 2 licenses were given out, one at ARL Healthcare in New Bedford for cultivation and product manufacturing for medical marijuana operations, and the caregiver-patient connection in Barrie for cultivation. Both companies now can commence operations at those locations. But we, again, are on location here in Las Vegas. And I want to bring in someone that I just met. Her name is Nicole Wolfe. Come on in here, Nicole. Thank you so much for joining us. Tell us about the research that you guys are involved with Lady Jane Branding.
We are launching this Women in Cannabis study at this conference to really get an idea and a sense of women's experiences in the cannabis industry as an emerging industry, to understand how women are faring in the industry, what are some of the barriers to entry that they're facing, what have been their professional trajectories that led them into this industry, and as an industry that's just beginning, what are ways that we can maybe help them succeed in this industry.
Sorry, and we all know that for a long time in America business, the male has been the dominant figure in business, and women have done a great job of carving out getting in on the ground floor, if you will, in the first couple of years of this cannabis industry. Where do you see the growth for women in cannabis? Is it in the growing? Is it in the licensing? Is it in the dispensaries? Where do you think the biggest growth is for women in this industry?
Well, I think it can be anywhere in the industry. I think the whole point of this study is understanding where some of, again, the barriers are for women, so that whichever aspect or area of the industry they want to be in has doors open to them, and that we can maybe provide recommendations, advice, course correction in this industry before we see some of the kind of policies and regulations become entrenched, as we see in other industries that really end up as barriers to women and to their success. And so this is a real opportunity for women to have equity, right, in an industry as it's just beginning.
Ownership and the historical new normal continues to evolve here. Nicole, thank you so much for joining me for just a few moments, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow at the conference.
Likewise, my pleasure.
All right, and of course, Las Vegas, Nevada. Now, let me tell you, you never know who you're going to run into in Las Vegas, Nevada. It is absolutely the adult fun capital of the world. And there's a gentleman to my right that I've known for a long time. His name is Jonathan Pierce. Come on in here, Jonathan. Jonathan and I go back to my days in Maine. A lot of people don't know the fact that I worked in Portland, Maine for 11 years. My son was born there, and I worked for the CBS affiliate WGME-TV. I was also friends with this guy, Jonathan Pierce, who is now in Las Vegas. He is a legend in the water industry. Is that accurate, John?
I don't know. I've been accused of being over-involved, I will say that. But it is a wonderful industry, and now the industry, as everybody knows, is leaning towards CBD-infused water, and I consult for those companies.
Got you. And, you know, the CBD craze is a little nutty right now. I mean, it's unregulated. It's the Wild West. Where do you think we'll see water and the evolution of water over the next couple of years when the FDA finally gets those regulations out?
Well, I think at this time, everybody in the industry is aware of the fact the big three, meaning Coke, Pepsi, Nestle's, have already got this dialed in, and it's just waiting for federal law to catch up. And when it does, they will dominate the industry.
Yeah, the federal government has their hands full right now. They're kind of lost focus a little bit on governing, and it's been kind of a war down there. But let's not talk politics, shall we? Let's talk about cannabis in Nevada. It's a legal state, adult use. There are dispensaries all over this town. We drove back from the airport recently, and I saw 2 or 3 that I was dying to get out of the car and just to check out. That being said, the evolution of this industry here in Nevada has had a few bumps, especially the licensing process. Can you tell me a little bit about what you know about the licensing process and how valuable having a license for either cultivation or certainly for sales in a dispensary are for cannabis?
Well, I've seen licenses be purchased because there's a limited amount of licenses that get purchased with no intention of opening a dispensary, with just the intention of flipping that at a profit, which has driven the price of those licenses to a point that the return on investment becomes limited.
Gotcha. And let's see, the other thing that I'm a little concerned about, although no, let me ask you this question. I keep hearing about, is it Planet 13, the big dispensary here?
Well, I personally use Jenny's because they're just such a wonderful bunch and they do a great job. The dispensaries in town are off strip, but I think they'll be in the lobbies when the law gets squared away. The casinos don't want you going off strip to buy anything. They want you in-house. So just like Starbucks is in the lobby, pretty soon the dispensaries will be in the lobby. I truly believe that.
And this guy, I can tell you, is usually right. Jonathan Pierce, thank you so much, not only for joining us here, but also accommodating the Pro Cannabis Media Group that's on location here in Las Vegas. So that's going to wrap it up for our News Dabs on location today. Remember, it's a whole new world of weed out there. Use it responsibly. We will now leave you with our usual 3 cannabis-friendly events in the greater Boston area. For Dan French, my videographer, I'm Jimmy Young from Pro Cannabis Media. We'll see you next week on News Dabs.
We are Pro Cannabis Media.
News Dabs is a weekly production of the Pro Cannabis Media Group. It is supported by Alternative Compassion Services in Bridgewater, Massachusetts. ACS is a leading provider of medicinal cannabis at 693 Elm Street in Bridgewater.